So Touch of Disney tickets went on sale yesterday, and they were pretty much sold out by the end of the day. People are definitely ready to get back into the parks. And, you know, all that's left is to get Orange County and LA County into the yellow tiers, and then that can happen. Except, well, that's pretty much impossible, and it would take a miracle for anything like that to happen. But recent news does appear to suggest that there may be a chance for that very miracle. Or is there? We're going to talk about this news and what it means for Disneyland coming up next on Fresh Baked. Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Fresh Baked. Before we get into this, I want to ask everybody, if it's not too much trouble, to please like this video and to hang around and watch the whole thing. It's a great way, a free way, to show your support for our channel and to let our YouTube overlords know that we're a good channel and that people like us. All right, guys, they're always watching, so just, you know, for us, thank you. Okay, so let's get into this. Something that I've been saying for a little while now is that we need to be open to the idea that Newsom could just change his mind. He could just change his mind and change the way the guidelines work, change the ranking system, basically at his leisure. I mean, the guidelines are fairly arbitrary, and there's no reason to think he couldn't change them. In fact, they've already changed the system more than once, completely. They've gone from the phase system to the color-coded tier system to the how many hospital beds are being used system. There's no reason why they can't change it again. And people have been pointing to some recent comments that the governor made about doing just that, reconfiguring the tier system, which is great news. But the news isn't as good as it appears, at least not as far as theme parks are concerned. The basis for this reconfiguration is vaccinations. They're being done at an alarming rate right now. In fact, the Disneyland vaccination site, the one being done at the Toy Story parking lot, is actually being reconfigured also into a drive-through vaccination site, which will make it even more efficient. So to me, it feels like, and this isn't a knock on Newsom per se, because I think a lot of us are going through this same process, but it looks like to me that he's looking for ways to, logical ways, reasonable ways to circumvent the current guideline system. Ways that help open things up a little sooner, a little more easily, without it looking like he's being, you know, totally reckless and throwing caution to the wind. And I don't mean this as a knock on Newsom, because as I mentioned, I feel like a lot of us are going through a similar process of how we feel about how things are going. More of us, I believe, are leaning toward, let's just reopen. Not completely, not 100%, but more than what we have. So again, great news for those who are waiting for things to reopen a little bit again. But so far, the only thing that he's talked about changing is going from purple to red. He's looking for ways to get the more metro, the more urban areas in the state to move into red. And he's going to be using vaccinations as a way to do that. He wants to make it possible for a county to move into the red. Rather than it being 7 new cases per 100,000, it would be 10 new cases per 100,000. And the way they do that is by providing more vaccinations to those cities, more than before, and it allows them to get ahead of the curve, as, you know, with relation to the rest of the state. In other words, that's of no use to theme parks. Now, I'm not saying I don't want him to do this. Yay, good idea, good plan. I like that. But as it relates specifically to the people who are watching this video, it doesn't really affect theme parks at all. So that's why I'm trying to sort of curb your enthusiasm a little bit about what this could mean for Disneyland, Universal, and Knott's. And that's because we're already on the verge of red. We're right there. Orange County is right there on the verge of red. But that's not even the goal anyway. We're trying to get not to red, not even to orange. We're trying to get to yellow. Maybe orange if HR 420 can go our way, which it probably will, but I don't see them voting on that anytime soon. We've been standing by waiting for that to happen for a while. And I heard somebody said on a live stream yesterday that it may not be until September until they vote on it. So I'm not sure if we should be waiting around for HR 420 to change our futures at Disneyland. Not that we have anything to do with it. I'm just saying it's yellow. It's yellow right now. Yellow or bust for Disneyland still. So again, I mean, it's good news, but not the best news for Disney Parks fans. But that doesn't mean there still isn't hope. I will say again the same thing that I've been saying for a few weeks now. This isn't the final move, I don't think. It doesn't have to be the final move. He could still change things again. He could change the guidelines for what it takes. Instead of 10 cases per, or instead of 7 cases per 100,000 to go from purple to red, he's making it 10. He could apply the same thing to get to orange. He could apply the same thing to get to yellow. He could come up with he could apply the vaccination logic to get things to yellow. Why not? And that's really what we need, because we've already got 2 of our metrics in orange for Orange County. We're right there, man. Now, one other thing that people have been commenting on or pointing me towards were comments that Newsom recently made about Major League Baseball. He said he has every confidence that guest fans will be allowed into baseball stadiums by season's opening in April. Now, obviously not at full capacity, something like 25%, but if you ever go to a baseball game, you know that they hardly ever fill those things up anyway. So it's almost like, go to a Padre game and there's like 12,000 people in the stands, which is about what they would let in. So that's fairly normal for baseball games. Now, some have been saying, well, okay, that's great. If it's okay for baseball to open, for sporting events to open, then theme parks, Disneyland shouldn't be far behind. But there's a couple things we should notice here. First, going to a sporting event is not the same thing as going to a theme park, and they have talked about this. For one thing, there's no mixing, or there's less mixing. That's a term that they use at sporting events than there are at theme parks. You go and you sit in your seat. You're there. You're fixed. You're in a fixed spot, and you just watch the game. And you're socially distant. There's 3 or 4 seats between you and the other guy. So there's very little chance for people to be mixing. Whereas that is the actual standard. There's very little sitting at Disneyland. There's no place to sit at Disneyland except when you're on a ride, which is curious. It brings up another, they want us to sit and be still, but they won't let us go on a ride, which is the only chance that we're allowed to sit and be still when we're at a theme park. I get it. There's a difference. It's not exactly the same, but you hear my point. It's I just don't know how they come up with some of this stuff, but I digress. You've got the mixing thing, but even more important, sporting events have always been orange. Okay, so him saying that he thinks it's okay, or he thinks he expects sporting events to be open by spring, simply means he thinks that the city of Anaheim and LA could be in orange by spring, which is a reasonable thing to say. Or sporting events have always been orange. They were never yellow. Only theme parks basically are in the yellow when it comes to opening up for the first time. You might be able to get more people into restaurants in yellow. You might be able to get more people into a sporting event when they're yellow, but they were open to begin with. As a matter of fact, you can open sporting events now in red. You just can't have any fans there. My point is that baseball and theme parks should not be seen as the same, both in terms of the science and in the way that things are being measured. Sorry, guys. Anyway, I mentioned earlier our statistics, how we were doing pretty well with the statistics. Let's wrap with a discussion on how we are. I didn't get to do this earlier in the week, and I didn't get to do it at all last week, but I want to do it today. We are in the orange in 2 of the 3 measurables, which is great. Positivity rate is down to 3.9%. From 5.4%, and that was 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, which was down again from the week before that. So it's cratering, and that puts us right in the smack dab in the middle of orange, comfortably in the middle. Health equity is down to 5% from 7%, and again that was down the week before, and that's at the top end of the orange range as well. It's just the adjusted case rate, which is what Newsom was talking about before, with regard to using vaccinations to make it easier to move down tiers in the adjusted case rate. We're still at 7.6 per 100,000, which is down again from 11.9 the week before, so that's great. But still, we're still purple. We haven't reached the red tier yet on that. We would need, that vaccination adjustment to get us from, we probably don't need it to get from purple to orange or red. I think we'll get to red on our own, but we might need it to get from red to orange, maybe from orange to yellow, who knows? So despite, sort of, like I said, curbing our enthusiasm on some of these topics, still, this has been a very positive week in general for, the things trending towards the parks reopening.
You've got Touch of Disney. You've got other theme parks doing their thing. Universal's got a thing, which we're going to talk about later. Knott's is doing another Taste of Boysenberry. And then the case rate is going down. Everything is going down. All the numbers are going down, and they continue to go down. We're getting safer every day. Safe enough, even, very soon, to go to a theme park and enjoy some lobster nachos and a little fizzy, bubbly drink that you can sip while enjoying the view of Paradise Bay. And that, you guys, is something to be happy about. Okay, let's wrap this video with a question for you guys. I want a comment from every one of you. You guys, every one of you, I need you to answer this comment. Support the channel. YouTube likes it when you make a comment and you engage with our videos. So I'm going to encourage you to do that by answering this question for me. Let's say you do go to Lamplight Lounge. Let's say you do sit down in those bayside views and you get served lobster nachos from Lamplight Lounge. You get served a soft pretzel and a beer from Bayside Brews. You get served a Dole Whip from Adorable Snowman and some Bengal barbecue from Smoke Jumper's Grill, which is where you find it. You get served those 4 things, but before you can eat any of it, you've got to throw one of them into the bay. Which will it be? Let us know in the comments below. I want you all to answer this for me, please. And until next time, guys, know that we love you very much. I am winging it. Know that we love you, and that we want you to be safe out there and be kind to one another. And until next time, FreshBaked. Subscribe to our channel, FreshBaked.